Hey, welcome to Bible Unleashed. Today's video is going to be about a Christian kingdom called Nubia, a powerful African civilization that lasted for almost 1000 years and then vanished. I hope you enjoyed watching the video. See you later.
In the wide and ancient lands of what is now Sudan, where the Nile River cuts a green path through rock and endless desert, there once existed a Christian civilization that the modern world has almost completely forgotten. For nearly 1,000 years, Christian kings ruled over Nubia. They built great churches along the riverbanks, appointed bishops, painted sacred images on the walls of their cathedrals, and defended their faith against repeated invasions. And then, slowly and almost without noise, their kingdoms faded from history. This is the story of the forgotten Christian kingdoms of Nubia. Long before many of the nations of Europe had taken their present form, Christianity had already traveled deep into the African continent. In the 6th century, missionaries from the Byzantine Empire and from Egypt made the long and difficult journey south along the Nile. At that time, the region known as Nubia was divided into 3 kingdoms: Nobatia in the north, Makuria in the center, and Alodia further south. These were lands with their own royal bloodlines, their own languages, their own customs, and ancient traditions that stretched back many centuries before the Christian faith arrived. One by one, the rulers of these kingdoms accepted Christ. The conversion of Nubia did not come through military conquest or forced submission. It came through the preaching of missionaries, the personal decisions of kings, and the gradual transformation of an entire culture. Churches began to rise along the banks of the Nile. Christian bishops were appointed to oversee the growing communities of believers. The message that had begun in Jerusalem centuries earlier found a new and lasting home in the heart of Africa. Among the 3 Nubian kingdoms, Makuria grew to become the strongest and most enduring. Its capital city, Dongola, developed into an important center of both political power and Christian life. Large cathedrals were constructed from stone and brick, some of them impressively large for their time. Monasteries were founded in quieter places away from the main cities, where monks could devote themselves to prayer and study. The Bible was translated into the Old Nubian language so that ordinary people could hear the scriptures spoken in their own tongue. A distinct African Christian culture began to take shape, different from the Coptic Church of Egypt and different from the churches of Byzantium and Europe, yet fully part of the wider Christian world. The art of this civilization still survives in fragments. On the walls of ancient churches, archaeologists have uncovered remarkable frescoes that had been buried under sand and time for centuries. These paintings show Nubian kings standing before Christ in royal dignity, queens presenting gifts with solemn reverence, dark-skinned bishops holding crosses with quiet authority, and saints portrayed with strength and peace. The images reveal a confident Christian society that saw itself as belonging fully to Christ while remaining deeply rooted in its African identity. These were not borrowed pictures copied from another culture. They were the visual language of a living African church that had made the faith its own. For many centuries, Christian Nubia stood firm against external pressure. After the Arab conquest of Egypt in the 7th century, Muslim armies attempted to push further south into Nubian territory. The Nubians resisted with determination and military skill. In the year 652, after a major confrontation, a remarkable peace agreement known as the Bai'i was signed between Christian Nubia and Muslim Egypt. This treaty established peace, regulated trade, and created clear obligations between the 2 sides. What makes the pact extraordinary is its length. It remained in force for more than 600 years. making it one of the longest continuous political agreements in recorded history. For generation after generation, the Christian kingdoms of Nubia continued to exist under the protection of this long-lasting arrangement. During these centuries of relative stability, Christian life in Nubia continued to deepen and mature. The church became central to the identity of the people. Priests and monks held respected places in society. Religious festivals shaped the rhythm of the year. Faith was not a private matter or a foreign practice brought from outside. It had become the heart of Nubian civilization. While much of North Africa was undergoing profound religious and cultural change, Nubia remained openly and officially Christian. Its kings ruled as Christian monarchs. Its people worshipped in Christian churches. Its artists filled the walls of cathedrals with images of Christ, Mary, and the saints. But no kingdom, however strong or faithful, lasts forever. Over the centuries, new pressures began to gather around the Christian kingdoms of Nubia. Arab tribes slowly migrated southward into the region, bringing with them new cultural influences and a different religious identity. Trade routes shifted. Internal divisions weakened the unity of the Nubian states. The once strong central authority of Makuria began to fracture and decline. By the 14th century, the Christian kingdoms were entering a period of serious weakness. The structures that had protected and nourished Christian life for so long were beginning to fail. Gradually, the visible life of the church began to collapse. Churches that had once been full of worshipers grew silent and empty. Bishops were no longer appointed. The royal families that had defended the faith for centuries lost their power and influence. The old Nubian Christian culture, which had endured for nearly 1,000 years, started to fade from daily life. By the 15th and 16th centuries, organized Christianity in Nubia had almost completely disappeared. Mosques rose in places where cathedrals had once stood. The memory of the Christian past grew weaker with each passing generation until it nearly vanished from the land. Today, only ruins and buried remains speak of what once existed. The great Cathedral of Faras, with its extraordinary collection of wall paintings, was carefully rescued by archaeologists in the 20th century just before the rising waters of a modern dam would have destroyed it forever. Other churches still lie hidden under sand and soil, waiting in silence. Outside of academic studies and specialist research, the story of Christian Nubia is rarely told. Most people have never heard that a powerful and sophisticated Christian civilization once flourished for nearly 1,000 years along the Middle Nile. Yet the evidence remains for those willing to look. For almost a millennium, this African Christian world lived, ruled, created, worshipped, and believed. It produced its own sacred art, its own liturgy, its own expression of the Christian faith, and its own royal Christian tradition. It stands as lasting proof that Christianity is not a recent arrival in Africa. It has deep and ancient roots on the continent, roots that once supported entire kingdoms and shaped the lives of countless generations. The disappearance of the Nubian Christian kingdoms is one of the quieter tragedies of church history. It reminds us that even strong and faithful societies can fade from memory. Political power can collapse. Cultural influence can disappear. Languages can be forgotten. Entire chapters of Christian history can slip into silence. But the traces of their faith still remain in the ruined churches and painted walls along the Nile, quiet witnesses to a Christian kingdom that once flourished in the heart of Africa and then vanished from the pages of history.